Hello and welcome to Hixxy Studio. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this card using this Aall Create stamp set. It's one of Tracy Evans, it's number 327 and it's called Ribbet, and I've made a Ribbet card with this. So we're going to start with the background. We're going to make that first and then we'll just do the other bits afterwards, because I haven't done anything other than stamp for these. I've not added colour. I just wanted it to be the sort of the brown and the white, and that's why I've used the brown and the white in the matting and layering. Okay, so let's have a look then at how we're going to create this. So I'm going to grab my spray box, just bear with me, and my distress colours that we're going to use. Oh, come on. Oh, there it is. Okay, so the colours I'm using for this are Wilted Violet, Mermaid Lagoon, and Raspberry. Okay, those are the three. I'm going to put something quite sort of bright to contrast the just the plainness of the stamping. Okay, so I'm going to start I'm going to just move everything out of the way. I've been having a bit of a mucky moment with my spraying today, so I'll move things away. Okay, now I'm going to grab a piece of tissue and just wipe the nozzle, because I've got some ink coming out, and that's because I have shaken it up and down like this. So if you're going to shake it up and down, make sure you've got something there to clean the nozzle. You see it goes into the cap as well, so let's just clean that off too. Okay, so we'll start with our picked raspberry, like so. That bit's enough, and I'm just going to clean off the nozzle again. So that's my picked raspberry, and then I think I use my Mermaid Lagoon. I don't even know that I used them all, probably did, but we're going to go for it anyway. There's my Mermaid Lagoon. Now I should I'm going to try very hard not to get these colours to mix, because with obviously the pink and the blue, they're going to make a purple, and I already have my purple here. I might go back over with a with a little bit of pink, because I feel like I've lost the pink under there now. So I'm going to dry this first. I'm going to just blot out some of these bigger blots. Oh, nice, smudge it as well. That's okay. It all adds to the background. I'm gonna give it a bit of a waft with the heat gun, and then I'm gonna give it a little bit more spray with the picked raspberry, just to get a little bit more. I'm just looking at all the bits that are really wet and just giving them a bit of a dab. All that's dry, so I'm just going to now get another little spritz with the picked raspberry, just to get some pink. See, and now I've got a little bit more of the pink showing through. That'll do. And again, I'm just going to blot out some of the bigger blotches. Okay, and then give that another blast with the heat gun. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a bit of stamping onto this, and some stenciling as well. Okay, so there, and I'm going to grab my sort of bit of stamping. This is a very old, as you can see, across Campania stamping mat, and I tend to put my ink mat over the top of it so that I've got that sort of pressure, the slight foamy bit for the stamping, but I've also got this bit to take the ink. So this on this lovely stamp set then we get our 2 frogs, and I'm going to use the bigger frog in this. We get various words. We've got ribbit, which we are going to use on this one. We've got leap, amphibian and frog, and if you have a look on the channel, there is another video I've done with this, and I've made one that's called leap frog, and I've used the 2 frogs. I'm also on this one going to use this crown as part of the image, and ribbit, but then I'm going to use these 3 stamps here on our background. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a little block. Got another one as well there. Let's get those stamps. So I'm going to start with the splodge. Now this is looking a little bit dirty, so what I might do is just grab a piece of paper and yeah, let's try and get rid of some of the colour off of this first. So I have now then the same colour inks as I use for the sprays. So we're going to start with the picked raspberry and put some colour on. But I'm going to, because this stamp was a little bit dirty, I am going to stamp this onto here first just to check that we've got it clean. Okay. This is a really, really lovely splat. It's one of those ones that, you know, it can be used on so many projects, and it goes really well with the fact that we've got lots of splats on already on here. Okay, so I'm kind of turning my card. Now I am conscious that I will be chopping this down, so although I am going off the edges, I'm kind of not worried too much about that. Do your sort of multi-generational. Okay, enough with the pink, I think. I'm going to do some blue splats as well. I do blue splats as well. Try and decide. Always look back at what I've done before, and sometimes I think maybe that's not really the way to go. I should just sort of use it as a guide, not as a you know, you have to do it this way. Just bear with me. I can see I've got some watered violet spray there, which I am in danger of putting my elbow in. And this is looking quite busy. I get that. But we're going to tone it. We're going to knock it back in a minute with the way that I'm going to do the stenciling. So I am just going to clean that one off on there, and then I'm going to swap to this little crown. This one here, this little crown with the really bit off. I don't really know what that is. And I'm going to use the wilted violet with this one. So that's really quite strong. And remember to turn your page round so that, well, unless you want it all up the same way, what you really want is to be kind of making it look a bit random by turning these things round. Okay, we'll go with that for the moment. Now, I'm going to just give this a little blast. We'll need those again in a minute. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my card and the mats and layers that I've already got cut, because I want to cut this down to size before I do anything else with it. Okay. By making it a bit bigger, you can kind of make a decision as to, is there a bit of this you don't like that you want to kind of try and avoid using on your card. or there's a bit you particularly like that you do want on your card. Okay, so I've got my I've got my base card. Move that to one side for the moment. I'm trying unsuccessfully, as you can see, not to transfer too much ink everywhere. So we're going to, this is my base card. Oh, let's make sure I've got it around the right way. There we go. And then I've got my piece of brown. Now, remember I said I'm using the brown and the white to kind of echo the stamping, because I'm just going to literally stamp it in the brown and not colour it in any way. So this kind of echoes that at the back, and then it will sit on this sort of bright jazzy background. Okay, right. I'm just going to grab my little pencil mark off there. Okay, so now I want to, do you know, I don't think there's any bits I particularly like above any others. So I think what we'll do is we'll just literally use it from here. So I'm just going to chop this bit off here and this bit off here, and then we can go ahead and complete creating our background. Bear with me. I've got a lot of bits and pieces for this particular project. I'll keep myself a little bit tidy. It doesn't always work, but we can try. Okay. And then okay. Let's just double check before I do anything that I'm happy with that. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so let's see what we're going to do next. Yeah, I'm just gonna get rid of that because I don't need that. I'm not doing any stamping now. Yes, I am. That was a lie. I am doing more stamping. But before I do that, I want to do a little bit of stenciling. We're going to use this. This is Aall Create. This is by Add, who sort of runs the company. This is number 124, and it's called Lotza Diamonds. And I really like this. There's a whole series of them. There's circles, squares, semicircles. I like the fact that it's kind of, you've got the tiny ones, but then you've got these kind of this area here with the large ones, which gives quite a nice focal image, which is what I'm going for. But I'm going to turn it that way. I think I want the larger ones towards the bottom. Okay, remember you can flip, these around any way you want. Now, I am not using a colour through this. What I'm going to use is white gesso, any white gesso or white acrylic paint. And I'm going to do 2 layers. We're going to put this on with a sponge through the stencil, and then dry it off, and then put another layer through so that we get a little bit of coverage of what's going on behind, but you can still see it through. If I show you here, you can see the diamonds here, but you can still see the colour through the background. So I'm not sticking it down. I'm literally just putting my sponge in the gesso, and I am going to just pounce it on like this. So my main area to cover is the bit with the larger diamonds, but I'm also going over into where the smaller diamonds are too, but not worrying if that's a complete coverage or not, because that's not where I am focusing. So I'm trying to put it on reasonably thick, on these areas. Now it will, as you can probably see, I've already got a bit of ink on my sponge, and that's because, you know, the product underneath is water based. It's going to start to move, it's going to start to wick around. So I'm going to take this off. Okay, and I'm just going to put it to one side for the moment and keep it on like that. And then we're going to give that a very quick blast, and then we're going to attempt to put the stencil back over and do another layer. But you can see that, you know, the colours underneath are still there. We haven't completely obliterated them because they are very strong colours, but it just gives a little bit of relief from them. That said, we are going to then ink over it in a minute. Okay, now be careful when heating this, because what you don't want to do is make it bubble. Well, it doesn't matter to make it bubble, but I don't really want to make it bubble. I just want it to dry so that I can put the second layer on. Okay, it's not quite dry, but I'm not going to worry too much. So I'm going to take my stencil now. You can see, just be careful. This is where it does get a bit mucky because I've obviously got gesso all over it. So if it doesn't go back on exactly right, I'm not too worried, but roughly in the same place. And then I'm going to get some more. I seem to have a big loopy yucky bit in my gesso. I think I must be near the end of the pot. Okay, now you can see that this second layer, I'm putting a second layer on, I'm getting more coverage. So one layer is not going to be enough. So I'm putting on a second layer here. But again, here I want to make sure I've gone over there, but if I'm going over the same over here, or I'm going over different bits over there, I'm not too worried. Okay, let's take that off. Okay, it's almost in the right place, wasn't I? I'm going to put that again on there. And then again, I'm going to put the lid back on my gesso before I do something that I might regret. And I'm going to put this out of the way. And then I'm going to give this another heat blast. And I've got a couple more things then that I want to do. And that is to edge this. And I'm going to do that in two ways. One with a stamp, and then again with a bit of ink. And then the other thing that I want to do is to put some more ink over where I've got this gesso. So I'm hoping what we might do is let this dry, give it a bit of a heat blast now, but let this dry while I do the stamping, and then come back and finish the background. Okay, so we're going to put this to one side, and we're going to put that to one side. And I'm just going to put a little bit of water on this mat before this dries too much. It's best also to clean your stencils when you're using acrylics on them. Well, I say best, depends. If you want to get it off, it's better to do it sort of sooner rather than later, but no. Get quite mucky, my stuff gets quite mucky, so it still works. Right, so while we're letting that dry a little bit, let's do the stamping that we want. So I am going to just trying to make sure leave the stuff to dry, and then I put stuff in the stuff on top of it. So I need a couple of pieces of card. We're going to start with the big frog, and I'm going to cut this out. So, ooh, why do I do that? Why do I do that? There we go. We're going to cut this out. So I'm just going to stamp it onto this piece of card. So let's take the big one, just place it on there. Okay. And the ink that I'm using, I've used this rather than a distress, because sometimes a distress the distress doesn't give you as much detail, and there's a lot of detail on this stamp. But it was more the colour I was going for. So this is Spectrum Noir. It's a finesse. It's the waterproof finesse, and it's called Pebble. It's a kind of a grey brown colour. It's just something different than your black. Like I say, I'm not. I have no intention of colouring or embossing or anything like that. I am literally just stamping the image close to the edge there. I'm just going to try a little bit more ink. I don't want to. I've did this on the other project that I videoed and put too much ink and ended up with a bit of a very dark edge. I have a feeling it's because I'm too close to this bit where I'm trying to press. Bear with me, I'm just going to stand up. I pinged it out. Not quite, but for the purposes of what we're doing. Okay, so that's our frog. And I also want the crown, and then I want ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. So there's the long piece I had here. And I'm going to just move it across this time, away from this bit. I think it's because of the way the angle I'm sat at, trying to push against this bit. So we're going to go with the crown, just a crown on this, and I'm going to do ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. I'm going to do that by hand, if you like, rather than in the stamp press. Ink just all over me again. Ink this up. I'm going to do that again. It's because right, I'm going to put some magnets on it this time and not magnet them together. So we're going to put 2 there, and I'm going to put 2 down. No, I'm not. 2 down there, and I'm going to put the stamp in. I don't know why it's possibly too thin a bit. It just keeps sticking on there. Now, those dots, you're going to lose those dots because, well, we won't lose them completely, but when we cut it out, you won't be able to cut those out. And what I'm going to do then is I'm going to grab this, and then because I've got only one, oh no, I have 2 ribbits. Where am I? I've got a ribbit and a ribbit, but I'm only going to take one off there because I can stamp this 3 times. I was thinking, what? I only got one, but I haven't. I've got 2. I just didn't use it. So we're going to do a ribbit. A ribbit. And another ribbit. This one's upside down, but not to worry. There we go. Right, so I've got my 3 ribbit. Put the lid on the ink. And let's just move those to the side. Put that back on there. So I need my scissors now. We're going to cut these out. I'm not going to cut it all out with big scissors. I'm going to cut the words out with my big scissors. I'm doing it by hand. I have no intention of trying to make it straight or even. I am just cutting, trying my best not to get too much ink from my messy fingers onto anything. There's one. There's a lot thinner. Maybe we'll put this down a little bit more. 1, 2, and then one more. Ooh. Like so. So there's my 3 ribbets there. That's the fuzzy one we don't want. And let me get my small scissors, and we're going to just cut our frog out. It's not a really tricky image to cut out. These little feet at the bottom are probably the most fiddliest bit. Even they're not really fiddly. It's not like tiny little, antennae on butterflies or something. It's a nice little easy cut. There you go. I'm not going to worry too much about the edge, that sort of pointy bit of the mouth. Gonna cut round. And I think what I'll do is I've already got a crown cut, so rather than sitting and cutting that as well, I'll grab the one that I've already stamped and cut. There we go. Right, so he says, if I can find it, I might have to cut it. Always lose the things. I think, oh, I've got that done, and then I did it. Okay, let's cut it. Let's go for it. And in a minute, I will find it. It is the law of demonstrating. Lose it, you carry on doing something else, and then when you've finished, it will be there. So these dots, as I was saying, we lose them when we cut it out like this. So when I put the card together in a minute, I'm going to decide where the crown's going to go, and then I will stamp it onto the background just so that we get the dots as well, and then this will go over the top of it. And it's not my idea, it's something I saw I had to do on a demonstration. So it's because there's some bits, otherwise you lose that lovely detail which you really kind of want to keep. Right, so okay, all of this. I'm also going to just use the finesse to edge these. I'm going to put those to one side to dry. Again, just to give them a bit of a, because I'm not going to put these onto any other card. These will go straight on to the background, but it gives them an edge by doing this. Please excuse my very gessoed fingers here. Right, so that goes over there. Need that. And that already for the card. So we just need to finish this off now. So that's nice and dry. So I need my stamping mat again, which I do not know where. Oh, it's there in a nice, easy place to find it. So, a couple of things then. So, I'm going to get the little foliage die here, and I'm going to use this with this. Now I'm going to put a bit of paper underneath because I'm stamping off, and this is waterproof dye, so I'm not going to be able to just clean my mat up with water. So the reason I'm using this ink is to tie everything together. So everything on this background is pink and purple and blue, and then my image is stamped in this brown ink. So this, the point of this is to tie all the colours in together. So I'm just going all the way around, just using kind of the ends of this foliage, just so that will then sort of, like I say, tie it together. So that's that. Just clean that off. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my picked raspberry, and I'm going to do some inking. I'm going to ink around the edge to begin with. I always like to ink around the edge of my backgrounds like this. But more than that, I'm going to start bringing this ink in and over this gesso. And so it's gone from being white to being more pink. And it gives us a little bit of a focal area, if you like, for the frog. I'm going to do a little bit more over here just to dull down some of this white background card. Okay, so that's that done. And now it's a case of just assembling it all. Just bear with me, I'm just going to just spray my fingers and try and just get the worst ink everywhere of the ink off of my hands before I start transferring it everywhere. Best intentions and all that, but right. So this is my base card. Let's make sure I've got the opening. This is going to sit there. Grab my glue. So, and I want those diamonds to be there on the right. Okay, line that up, and then I'm going to grab a clean piece of copy paper. Just press that background down. Okay, that's good. And then we need to bring in all our bits. So there's our frog, and there's our crown. And so what I need to do, I need to grab the crown stamp back. Okay, so I'm kind of looking where I'm going to put this crown, and I'm going to draw a little pencil line. It won't be noticeable when it's all done. A little finesse in again, and my And I am just going to stamp. Now remember, this purpose of this is those dots at the top, because the rest is going to be covered by the bit I've cut out. Okay, so this hasn't stamped well because what I've done is I've tried to stamp over a very heavily textured piece of the card, but it has put all those dots on, so when I put that over the top, the dots are the bit that we're interested in. So we can now stick this back. Let's put the crown on first. Okay. So the crown's going on here, on the top of that. So we see those dots, but the rest of the stamping is kind of irrelevant. And then I'm going to use a little bit of glue gel for this, I think. Give a little bit of height. And like so. And then I've got my 3 rivets here. Again, I'm going to use a bit of glue gel. Might need another little syringe in a minute. Yeah. Got one on there. Ribbit. Got another syringe. Bear with me. So I can find one that's not blocked up. There we go. Down here. And the other one up. Yeah. Okay, right. So I'm just going to try and push all the mess to the side so that we can focus on the card. Okay. So this is our my ribbit card. I have used Aall Create. This is Tracy Evans stamp number 327 called Ribbit. And the stamps themselves I've just used really simply, but then I've also incorporated them into the background, and I've used Wilted Violet and Picked Raspberry and Mermaid Lagoon sprays and inks and to stamp with as well. Okay, so have a look on our channel. Subscribe to our channel and you will get updates of when we put new things on. But there is another one using this particular stamp set on there in a slightly different way. Thank you for joining me.